note the Texas Open Meetings Act that the Board of Directors of the San Juan Economic Development Corporation will convene for a special call meeting at San Juan Memorial Library located at 1010 South Standard, San Juan, Texas, on Thursday, March 5th, 2016, at 6:30 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the following items. The first one is calling the special meeting to order at 6:45. Next item, the roll call. Adriana Salazar, myself, present. Eddie Garcia,
Present.
Edward Rodriguez,
Present.
Dolores Barrientos,
Present.
Israel Garza will not be attending. Pedro Contreras, Ruben Navarro.
Madam President, Mr. Garza is working tonight at the fire department. Mr. Contreras informed me that he would be arriving a little late to the meeting, and Mr. Navarro said he would be here, so I'm thinking he's probably running a little late himself.
Mayor San Juanita Sanchez,
She is, as mentioned, that she felt ill tonight, is my understanding, but I have Christina here in the audience, City Secretary, to make a few comments.
First of all, I want to acknowledge Commissioner Maldonado. Commissioner, thank you for being here. Yes, the rest of the commission can make it. More specifically, Mayor Sanchez and Mayor Concha Barnes. Although they were planning to be here, they're unfortunately sick with the flu. But anyways, nevertheless, we're happy that you're here and looking forward to a very productive meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Ben Arjona,
He
he won't be here. Rick Palacios, Bobby Rodriguez,
present.
Diana Lasso.
Madam President, if we can have, I know that there's an option for excused or unexcused, and there were some read out to be ill at this time. Madam President, if there's a motion to excuse them or unexcuse them, this would be the appropriate time. I know that two individuals are still getting here. We can revisit that after, if you'd like, if they show up or not.
Okay, so is there a motion to excuse the two members?
So move.
Okay, it's been moved by Vice President Garcia.
Second, Mayor.
Second by Mr.
Chairman.
Rodriguez. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we go now to the next item. First item on the agenda, discuss the US 83 IH2 Expressway Corridor Study. Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Madam President. Want to welcome everyone here tonight at the meeting. I'd like to welcome those that have come from out of town to be here with us today. Thank you very much. Today, Madam President, we're going to discuss the US 83 IH2 Expressway Corridor Study that's being conducted by Ms. Ann Bagley out of Dallas. She's putting this corridor study together, and tonight we're having a community workshop so that we could get input from all those in attendance tonight, and we have the Planning and Zoning Board. I'd like to welcome them here also tonight. And so we'll be discussing this, and I'd like to turn this over to. What I'd like to do is I'll turn it over to Ms. Bagley, but before I do that, I'd like to, if the board members from the Planning and Zoning Committee would stand up and be recognized. I believe we have Mr. Wahad, or I'll start with the President.
Adán Magallanes.
Mary Gonzalez.
Juan Alvarado. Ernesto Guajardo.
Thank you. Thank you, Planning and Zoning Commission and Mr. Javier Cervantes for joining us here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Cervantes. At this time, Madam President, I would like to turn it over to Ms. Bagley so she can commence the study.
All hear me? All right, because there's no mic there. All right, I'm glad to see all of you here. Some of you I've met before. My name is Ann Bagley. I'm a planning consultant. I live in Dallas right now, but I've worked down in the valley since 1999. Worked in FAR as a consultant. FAR was with San Benito Mission and Stark County. So I'd love to come down, and I tend to adopt the cities that I work with. I was contacted by Mr. Cervantes and Mr. Rodriguez to look at the potential I do this. So it's not- Maybe better without it. To look at what the opportunities are for development and improvement along the I-2 US 83 corridor. And you'll see a rolling presentation behind me. It may stick at some person time. But we looked at really going on, and we wanted you all to be involved in this community meeting to answer your questions, to get your input, and to just meet you all as well. So glad to be here, and it really wanted to go through with, I'm going to have to put this down, to look at what the purpose of the study is. The purpose of the study really is to provide the groundwork for developing the underutilized area parallel to US 83 and IH-2. Really what we want to do is we want to support existing businesses, attract complementary businesses, promote the area as an economic destination, and develop a vision for the area that will support potential new zoning regulations that will enhance the area. So what you have to do with a study like this is to look at what's existing now. And the study area includes approximately 381 acres from Cesar Chavez for 2.16 miles across the city of San Juan. There are maps on the wall I want you all to be able to look at. It goes all the way to Veterans Boulevard, or I Road. And the existing conditions in the area are really quite interesting. And that slide may or may not come up. But right now, there's a multiple of uses. There's single-family uses, but they're only about 4% of the area. Multifamily uses, about 2%, 2.5%. The mobile home park is less than 1%. The commercial areas right now, and I'm talking about uses, are 33%. Public uses are about 6%. And the interesting point is now they're about 53% of the area is actually vacant or underutilized. So right now you have the Basilica, which is not in the study area, but a big feature of the city in this same area. Right now you have new car dealerships. You have a home supply store that's almost ready to open. And you have a glass company, you have some landscaping, you have some fast food restaurants. You've got heavy equipment out there now. You've got a funeral home, recreational with the bingo. So there really a lot of opportunity to look in infill development. The current zoning in the area is really mostly heavy commercial. And your heavy commercial zoning district basically allows most anything and everything. And a lot of that, those smaller uses that are more appropriate to neighborhood commercials really shouldn't probably be on in a freeway corridor. But we're looking at what could be done and what we might change in the zoning ordinance in the future. We are looking at the infrastructure and public safety. When I started on the project, I looked at how much of the land was vacant, and I asked, well, why is this land vacant out here? Well, a lot of it was that it didn't have utilities. It didn't have water and wastewater facilities. So I think really in some ways, not having that over time has protected you all from getting development that you might not want in the area. But we've consulted with the fire chief and the TxDOT, which has almost 350 feet of right-of-way. But the amazing thing is TxDOT says 135,000 cars go on this corridor each way total, going both ways. 135,000 cars a day. You've got also between Brownsville and the other side of Mission, 2 million people on both sides of the border. So that's a lot of people that can come to San Juan. Now your neighboring cities, a lot of them have done a lot of development. And what we're looking for with this new area, which I'm calling a new area, it's new to me, but it's got a lot of opportunity, is to attract some businesses that are not in your neighboring cities, to get people to come to San Juan as that destination. I don't remember what they said, but it's an amazing number of people that come each year to the Basilica. Just an absolutely amazing number. And a lot of people come to the car dealerships as well. So really what we've done is to try to identify what's there now and what could be there. And on the back of your agenda that you got today are 4 questions that I'd like you all to answer. You can answer them tonight. You can drop it off. You can fill it out, drop it off to Mr. Cervantes at City Hall or mail it. But they're questions that ask, what are the strengths and positive aspects of this corridor? And what's keeping this area from developing? What uses could be there? And what are the internal or external pressures that might this area from moving forward? You don't have to put your name on the form, but you can send it in, and we'd be happy to have you. What we're getting is from some of the people that have participated in these questions already, and I'm not trying to prime the pump with you all, but the strengths is your access to the upper and lower valley. You've got good visibility from the freeway. You've got that high traffic count. What's keeping it from developing? It's not very pretty out there right now, except for the new buildings and nicer buildings. But you had utility poles, you have lack of landscaping, and some other businesses that are not always in San Juan, but they're detracting. And we've also, one of the main things we want from you all tonight is to know what kind of businesses you would like in the area. And then negative perceptions of the city, we're looking at that detrimental. It's very important in any study that you have public participation, and besides having this meeting tonight and the opportunities for you all to review and understand this will be on the website, the city's website, the study. It's in draft form, it's almost through, still needs to be a little proofreading to it. But it was, we presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission and to the City Commission and to the EDC. They had a joint meeting about a month and a half ago. So tonight, we're having a meeting to get you to answer any questions or concerns that you might have. We want to look at what businesses are wanted here and what ones you think to go. We've created a vision for the area, and we're still tweaking it, but it's still there. Our vision for the area is the US 83 IH2 Expressway Corridor is a unique destination for pilgrims, luxury car purchasers, and shoppers. Now, this is the vision, with complementary businesses in a safe, attractive environment, inviting environment as well. We've looked at the goal from this study, and under Texas state statutes, when you start in looking at rezoning or zoning things, pieces of property, you have to have some basis for doing it. You have to know what's there now and the process we're going through with this study. Our goal is to create a new zoning district that guides development and redevelopment along the corridor by providing desired and appropriate guidelines for new opportunities that will take advantage of the location of properties. We want to do this district, create a new list of uses. We're looking at a separate zoning district from what's in your zoning ordinance now. We're not trying to tweak or mess around with the zoning districts that are there, but to create a new expressway corridor district. And hopefully we'll be doing that over the next few months. There will be additional meetings. There'll be meetings at the Planning and Zoning Commission with EDC, and then eventually at the City Commission. And you all are invited, encouraged to attend those. Now, what I would like for you all to think about this evening, besides looking at this plan, which we will, when we have the draft, it'll be available several places, the library and at City Hall, is there 2 charts, and there's some colored pens, washable ones, that I want you to think about what uses you would like in the district. And the uses are back there behind the city secretary. And there's some pins back there as we finish. I want you to go back there and put uses that you'd like to see in the district. Anything you'd like to see that's not there, the main thing that we've heard is restaurants. The other thing that I want you to do is think about businesses, brand names that you would like to see located there. You cannot zone for brand names, much as I'd like to sometimes, but you can't. So, but if you'll give us some brand names, and it's called Name Your Brand over here, of different then that gives the EDC the opportunity to know where to focus some of their direction to attract businesses to the area. So what I want to do is to tell you that the zoning and the study do not have any, they will have long-term effect perhaps on your property, but nobody is going to be encouraged to close their business. There is no taking, there's no forcing anybody out of their home. There's businesses that are there now will continue to exist as long as they're there, even if we do some rezoning and look at different uses. So with that, I encourage you to keep informed on this process and look at all the opportunities you have to be involved, and particularly to read the study when it comes out. And then as we go through the zoning process, we need you all involved as well. So I'm awfully glad you came. They've got some very good food here, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, if anybody's got any questions. You did. Yes, ma'am.
What about flooding? HEB place now has its area there, and due to HEB, I Road and even Street now gets flooded. And they said, we promise we're going to take care of the flooding. Well,
Well, I'm not looking exactly at flooding. What I want to do is partly with the zoning and partly with the criteria is the new uses will not continue to make more flooding. It's called low-impact development, and we'll be looking at some standards for that. I'm not the person who addressed for flooding at that, but there are several people here tonight that are hearing you. So I want you to know that you're heard, and we'll be looking back and getting in touch with you as to what we can do about that.
One of the projects that you have is looking at this Alameda, rebuilding Alameda. So with that, there will be maybe some bridges.
Yes, sir.
The corner on northeast corner of the freeway, it was the highway department's property, it's for sale now. Did the highway department want to sell that, or they sold it to somebody else, or you don't know anything about it?
I'm innocent.
For sale.
But it is included in the study area, and we will be looking at the
I mean, it's a good location. I mean, it's an acre and 3/10 or something like that.
one of the things we hope to be having is some very, what I would call gentle architectural and design standards that begin to look at getting attractive businesses in the area. We're not trying to impede anybody, but we'd like to look at some thematic designs for what people might think about if they build new buildings. So. Nobody? But this has been an interesting project for me. I'm glad to be down here. I come down about once or twice a month now, a little more as we go. I think you all have an opportunity. I told Mr. Rodriguez one time, you know, you take the word opportunity and maybe you put two in the middle, opportunity for the expressway corridor. You've got a lot of opportunity, and it's time to look at what you can do there and what would best serve everybody.
Well, the rest of town, like my town's all built up on the freeway, so it has to come.
It's got to come somewhere, and let's do it right. And the thing is that what this expressway corridor district will do is try to encourage better development, because there'll be, with the new zoning, with the study and with the new zoning, maybe a little more predictability for somebody coming in to invest with the new zoning that gives clarity to it. I'm still not trying to take any value away from anyone's land. I think it will increase their value. So what I really would like you all to do is enjoy the food, but I also want you to name your brand and think about uses that you want to do. And thank you all for coming, and I hope you'll come again. Yes, sir. Well, I tell you what I'll do, when this is over, I timed them, and they were timed, and I can't stop it right now. But I will get that, and we can talk about it. I can get you a copy of that as well. So, if anybody like a copy of the presentation, it is online.
It's in the website. It's in the city website. Okay, that PowerPoint.
Bagley. Ms. Bagley, I think we have a
Yes,
question in the back.
I guess I just had a comment on what I would like to see. Although I grew up in South Texas, I've had the opportunity to live in different parts of the country, like in the Northeast, New York City, and Philadelphia, and I've been able to live in the UK as well. And the good thing about living abroad is that you get to see different kinds of communities, right? And something that I was very impressed with is having communities that promote a healthy lifestyle, right? So that means, for example, having, businesses at the bottom, right, of a building, and then you have residential at the top.
We are looking at that in the zoning. We call it live work. Also, I didn't mention that we are looking at, within this low-impact development, is looking at enhancing. You do have drainage problems in the area, and new businesses are required, new developments required to have control of what the drainage is off their property, and sometimes they have to have detention ponds. And detention ponds that you see all over the valley, some of them look like great big craters. So we're trying to think about within the design that these detention ponds could be the center of a park-type environment, that you could have benches and make them pretty instead of just a hole in the ground. Another thing we're looking at is really encouraging native plants. You've got a lot of beautiful plants. One of the nicest things about coming down to the valley for me is seeing all the blooming plants. But you don't need to have plants that don't, well, you got more things to grow here than I get to grow in Dallas. But anyway, you want plants that are enhanced. One of the things that really came to my attention today, and I've been working through it, is you're not just Texas, you're not just the valley, you're very international. You've got a lot of people from all over the world that come here, even if they work in McAllen, or other places that you want that opportunity for them to shop. You do have this unique situation with the luxury car dealerships. And so what we were thinking about through some of this program is, what do you do when you bring your car in for service? You're going to wait all day with it. You need to get someplace to go sit and eat, or to visit, or to shop. That's not necessarily, we are actually really looking at businesses with, Bobby, of businesses that are not currently in the valley. I can't name names. I want y'all to name names. Is what you'd like to see. Where have you visited? Where was a neat restaurant? Are there local restaurants or businesses that might be enticed to locate in the area?
Yeah, another thing that I wanted to mention is also communities that make the most efficient use of space, right? Businesses. And actually UTRGV, the Small Business Development Department, they have grants to help the small businesses. And if you can just make use of that, right, to help small businesses to develop. So, anyway.
They have all been looked at, and I appreciate your comments. One of the
Can the audience please come to the microphone? So everybody can hear, because it's being live streamed, and I don't think that the people can hear you. Come on over. Or take the mic, or take the microphone over. Well, you did a
Well,
good job.
I'll recap a little bit. What she was interested in is talking about having local businesses, having the opportunity, local people to have the opportunities to have the small, unique businesses in the corridor, not just the big boxes. to look at environmentally friendly businesses as well as places to live and walk around, to look at the opportunities that we have for health and healthy communities. One of the things I kind of like for you all to think about is think about it really as kind of a neighborhood that really is, you're all in this together, and you need to work together and cooperate, and everything should work together. If you think about yourself as a neighborhood rather than just a commercial corridor, even though that's what okay, I'm going to call it the Expressway Corridor Neighborhood. No, but it's that neighbors are not just residential, neighbors are businesses as well. So I'd like for you all to think about being good neighbors. So, yes, sir. You can. Loud.
Not only are the citizens supporting this community, but we have planning and zoning commissioners and the mayor and a group of city employees that are promoting the city. And I think it's so important that any study or any development or any program, there needs to be some mention of the city's willingness to work with new developments and new businesses and let them know that this community is ready to help anybody who's willing to come in to bring new businesses. The new businesses to hire from within the community and surrounding communities. And so that has always worked, and we're excited about that. But I think it's important that when you have trying to that somewhere recognize that you have a city and staff and a community who's willing to support a new business coming in.
An ordinary person, you're going to have somebody that has a vision and spend a lot of money. You know, that little corner I'm talking about, they want $750,000 for it. That eliminates a lot of people.
But I think to address your point, part of the reason for the study and part of the reason for the zoning ordinance is to give a level of information on what can be developed, as well as making that process smoother, because you're giving some sort of predictability, better predictability for what can actually can, will, should, and could go into the corridor. So, yes, ma'am.
Have they looked into possibly making like an indoor swimming pool? Because that would be healthy. It would help the community as a whole exercising, because we have too many taquerias. We have too many restaurants. I mean, that is overdone. Oh, yes, it is.
Yep.
It is overdone. So we don't need restaurants. We need something to make us healthier. And if we have like a swimming pool, that would bring a lot of people to come and swim here.
Well, that's one of the things one of the uses that came to the top to look at was some sort of, and I'm not saying whether it's public or private, what is a fitness center that certainly could include an indoor pool, a local fitness center that both would be exercise and the pool would be a fabulous deal to that. So we can certainly look at that. Yes, ma'am.
I believe that in order for us to get our city moving, our city going, is that our city should be not only promoted within the nation, rather if we can get a good group of people promoting our city, international, just like we have the people coming in, like your business that's coming in, it's coming in international. So if we can start attracting international businesses selling the products, selling our business, I think that would be very ideal. And like, for example, IKEA. IKEA is not a national business. It's more an international. It started in Europe. I believe it's a European.
Sweden, yeah.
It's a European business. So if we can promote the city, we really want to make the city work. I think one of the things that we should do is have promotion in our city, not only national, but why don't we go international?
Well, it's interesting that you mention IKEA because that interesting concept, just their whole concept of IKEA. And Bobby's aware of it as well, Mr. Rodriguez. I have a story on that. I was working for another city doing a similar study, and there was a piece of property on their freeway. This is in southern part of Dallas. And it was a property on the freeway. It was owned by Ross Perot Jr. And my daughter-in-laws both were driving from Dallas to Houston to shop at IKEA. Well, I was down there with them one time, and I overheard the IKEA manager talk about, well, we only have been located at port cities. That was IKEA was always at a port city because they could ship easier. He said, but we're moving inland. Now, I don't think I was supposed to hear that, but maybe I was. So I go to the city that I was working in, who will remain nameless, and I said, you've got this great piece of property on a freeway, and you've got, willing owner, you've got tremendous access both on and off the freeway, like you have out on your freeway. And I said, you need to do, and this is probably 8, 9 years ago, and I said, you need to look at IKEA. And he goes, never heard of it. And I said, well, go find out. Go find out. Because they don't care so much the name of the town as they care about the location. So I went back to him. I hit him up about 3 times for it. Didn't pay any attention. IKEA went to Frisco, Texas. If you ever look at Frisco, they've got their development on steroids. I mean, it's amazing. But they have a big IKEA there. The one in Houston that was actually near my my house I moved to wasn't all that big, but it was still a lot of traffic. But I think that's something that we need to look at. I'd like to see, you've got hotels all up and down this stretch. I'd like to see you get a hotel that's one notch above just the hotels. I told one of the people I talked to, I said, I don't want to see a short, squatty hotel. You want to see something that's seen and known, and another name perhaps. I mean, you've got every other hotel, but there's still a demand, and so those are the things. We've looked at things like a resort-type day spa, someplace you could go, the fitness center, the technology store, an upscale Starbucks, something that's not just your... Factory cheesecake? Yep. So we just... Well, I think I'd like to see the local, and you realize a lot of the property is very deep. And what we've looked at too is not just looking at the property where it's a strip center, because you block off the back of the property, but to look at some sort of guides for development that take advantage of the whole property with perhaps walking trails, perhaps benches, perhaps open air. I mean, everybody loves the snow cone stand. Why don't we just take it up a notch and have it there as well? So, but I think local businesses shouldn't be discouraged at all from locating.
Do you have a mic? Use a mic. Use a mic.
Keep in mind that we do have a railroad. I don't know if anybody has a brilliant idea on how to use it for the corridor too. I don't know. That we have a railroad going through town, and we could use it to move things to get it going also. If anybody has any brilliant ideas on that.
Oh,
we do have a
we can
railroad.
certainly work it into the mix here. So, but I really do need you. Yes, ma'am.
Since you brought up the railroad, why not an actual carrier, a cart that people can go and take a ride on the rail and the way they used to? And it's never really in use. They just bring lumber. That's it. For all of and oil.
I don't think any other city uses the railroads like we should use it for the city to use it. And that's a good idea, ma'am. And anybody else, any other ideas? But we do have a
Well-
nice railroad.
Just send us your ideas. That's important.
Ms. Bagley, what is the timeline, the timeframe for, that you're going to be asking for input from the citizens?
I would think for the next 3 weeks, we'd like it, we've been out there trying to get input, but over the next 3 weeks, if you would get the information back, we need to be wrapping up the study so that we can move forward. So I would say 3 weeks. 2 would be better, but, but we want your input. And as much input as we can get from you tonight on the uses you'd like to see and the brand names you'd like to see as well. So thank you all for coming. Be sure to get something to eat, and we're going to be here. We're going to take a break before they go to their next agenda item, so we're here to visit with you as well. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Bagley. We're really excited about this new venture. We're going to take a recess.
Lady President, if I may, I'd like to I see that there is a lot of business, and not because of age, but people that have been around our community for many years. Thank you for being here and seeing interest in making this happen for the betterment of San Juan. And again, our doors are open, and any suggestions you all have, we're willing to listen and what we can make it a better growing community for our city. Thank you again, gentlemen, for being here, and ladies.
Madam President, again, as Ms. Bagley stated earlier, please take the time to write your ideas. We've heard most of them, but we'd like to see them in writing. It's important that we see them in writing. It's proof for us that people don't say, well, you made this up. No, actual folks actually wrote their ideas here. So I encourage you to come, write your ideas down. Please, please do so. Thank you, Madam President.